It's August 3rd, 2024, and I'm with Mr. John J. Jeckovich, recipient of 2 Bronze Stars and a Purple Heart from World War II, the Battle of the Bulge. And we're reading his book he wrote basically about his mother and his life. It's called Their Mother's Sons. We're on page 13, at page 366, chapter 13, Renee, Tripe, and Etampes. This is when Mr. Jeckovich is been wounded twice in the battle. He's got a shoulder wound from a sniper and shrapnel in his leg, and he's in Paris recovering in a hospital. However, things are differently then. Once you're able to walk and talk, they put a bandage on it and they send you right back to the front. Is that correct?
That's right.
So, before we go on, do you have your dog tag number?
420-265.
Do you want to read or you want me to read?
You're right, read it.
Okay, this is when he's with Renee. A few questions came in for you. You want to answer them or you want me just to read?
What?
A few questions came in on the internet for you. Do you want me to ask you the questions or you just want me to read right now?
No, answer the questions.
You feel like answering some questions?
Yeah.
First one, a young man that's in the military, and what's your advice of going through basic training?
People for basic training?
Young man's going through basic training.
What's your tips?
What's any tips to get through basic training?
Advice?
Yeah.
Keep your eyes open and your mouth shut.
And what did that one lieutenant told you? Keep your nose clean?
And your nose clean, yeah.
And that's it. Anything else you want to tell the young man?
No, that's good.
Okay. Another question was from a fella in Marina del Rey, California. He listens to your readings every night about your book, Your Mother's Sons, and he commends you on fighting for this country during World War II unselfishly, but he's interested to know, he can't figure out, if you were in, 19-year-old boy, if you're in World War II, which you're enlisted, he wonders how, if you're in combat most of the time, how you had time to have 3 girlfriends. You had Anne, you had Jean, and Renee. So he wants to know how that all fit into place if you're in the middle of it.
I was in different places.
What places were you in?
I was in Hanford West, I was in Belgium, I was in England for a while.
Well, where did you have time? You were in a combat soldier. You were fighting on the front line. Where did you have time for these three dating?
Well, I mean, this combat soldier, you're not up there 24 hours a day, 50 every day. You get a break, go back to the USO, go back. We went to dances.
So you had breaks in between?
Huh?
You had breaks in between basic training?
I didn't meet those women running around in the field outside there somewhere.
That's interesting. So basically, the first 2 ladies you met while you were in basic training, one in Owensboro, Breckenridge, North Kentucky, and the second lady you met was when you're in basic training. Hey, how you doing? And the second one was in basic training in Haverfordwest, Wales.
Yeah.
Is that correct? And the third lady you were dating, the former nun, you weren't in basic training. You were already in combat.
Yeah, I was in the hospital.
And you were in a hospital.
Yeah.
Recovering from a sniper machine gun wound to the shoulder, and also shrapnel in the leg. So that's pretty much, so now we understand. You're not always out in the field, and so when you had a break,
This was when I was walking around the field, the lawn back of the hospital, where that kid was sailing that little boat.
Well, that was in Paris, correct?
Yeah.
So when you had a break, you might say you didn't waste any time. How about we say it that way? You didn't waste any time. You did not waste any time in Owensboro, Kentucky. You did not waste any time in Haverford, West Wales. You did not waste any time.
Owensboro, Kentucky was the most extended time, yeah.
Because that was a long basic training.
Yeah, it was the basic training. Haverford, what the hell is that camp?
Breckenridge.
Breckenridge, yeah.
Okay, so now we understand how that all happened. So when someone says they're a combat soldier, they have breaks in between. They're not always out there year after year.
Do I?
A combat soldier has breaks in between. He's not always out there day after day, year after year.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say Battle of the Bulge and making a big issue. It's little, breaks out little segments.
It was very fluid.
Yeah.
Very fluid. So, is there anything else you want me to say about this, or do you want me to start reading?
Go ahead, start reading. Go ahead.
How are you feeling today?
Chipper.
You're looking chipper. You're looking well. You're looking well. All right, here we go. I did not write to Ann or Jean. Primarily, I did not want to know what to write to them. Nothing had changed in our situations. And I did not want to go over all the ground I had covered dozens of times. There was nothing new to discuss. I was still ambivalent about my future, and I felt that there would be nothing resolved in my writing. I thought it best that they planned their futures without me, and perhaps they would attain what they were seeking without me being in a way to hamper them. It never occurred to me that they would presume something befell me, and that was the reason they received no communication from me. I felt as I reasoned all along that it was best that I did not write. I went to the PX for a Coke to listen to the music on the jukebox and sort of unwind. Renee was on my mind, but I did not let it overpower me to the point of trying to fathom out every little detail that was bothering me. I would just have to accept certain things as they were, since there was nothing I could do about them. Maybe in the next several days, when I saw her again, she would explain some of the items on my mind. That night, as I lay in the bed with his clean white sheets and pillow, I wondered when I would again have the luxury of the sheets and pillows. Perhaps never. I wondered about Renee was doing and thought it must be very lonely in that house all by herself. I thought what a fascinating person she was, yet so mysterious. As I became drowsy, I thought perhaps she seemed so different and alluring because she was partisan and emanating from a different culture and background. I knew she was Catholic, and you're a Catholic also, were you not? Were you a practicing Catholic at that time?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No.
Was your mother a practicing Catholic?
No, my mother went to church, walked to church every day.
Was your sister a practicing Catholic?
Sundays and holidays and her birthdays, yeah.
So she was a fair weather Catholic?
Yeah.
Like the rest, they'd show up on Christmas and put on their fancy clothes.
Yeah.
Show up on Easter.
Get the Easter baskets blessed.
Yeah, get
Say
the
the Station of the Cross during Easter.
But that wasn't the case with your mother.
Pardon?
That wasn't the case with your mother.
Was it?
Your mother was different. She was a devout Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
And she went to church regularly.
Yeah.
And your mother's goal, when she died, she wanted to die on the altar receiving communion, but it didn't work that way. Was your father a devout Catholic?
No.
Did he go to church at all?
He went most of the time with my mother, yeah.
He did?
Yeah.
I see. That's interesting. I never met your father, but, so your mother, did she have to coax him to go to church, or did he want to go on his own? What do you
Close
think?
to what?
Did your mother have to coax your father to go to church, or did your father want to go to church on his
Well,
own?
when she went, he usually went.
I see. I see. I see.
Well, consider neither one of them drove.
They both walked to church.
Yeah. Or had someone taking them. Uncle John, it was Uncle Andy, mostly Uncle Andy.
Was your brother Looky a devout Catholic?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, we don't
No,
know.
he was thinking and he's running away from home. No.
Okay.
No.
How about your oldest brother, Steve? Was he a devout?
Well, I don't know. He passed away early. Remember, he passed
But what you know of your brother, Steve, was he a devout Catholic?
Who?
Steve, was he a devout Catholic?
I don't know. I didn't know him that well. He lived in California.
Okay. I just thought I'd ask because we're talking about Catholics now. And I thought I'd ask. I knew she was a Catholic, for I could see numerous religious pictures and icons throughout the house. What kind of Catholic religious pictures did you see at Renee's house?
At Renee's house?
Yeah.
I saw the cross, a macular cross on the wall. Ivory cross, or ivory wood.
What else?
And I saw a Bible at the front table going inside the portella.
Oh, okay. How about, did she have any holy water fountains to bless herself?
No, I didn't have that, no.
How about, did she have many crucifixes throughout the house?
Have that?
Many crucifixes throughout the house?
Crucifixes?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. All right. The last thing I recall before I fell asleep was that I was certain for one thing, which is indisputable. She was beautiful and she held me in her sway. She was provocative, yet regimented, and I could not get her out of my mind. The next morning after chow, we fell out into the courtyard for the last time. Some of the nurses and doctors came by to say goodbye. The major had written my love remarks and my diagnostic chart, came out and shook my hand and wished me luck, reminding me to take advantage of my last 2 or 3 days of freedom. I smiled sheepishly and said I would try, then thanked him for everything. So all the nurses and doctors are knowing that your time is up in Paris, and they're going to send you right to the battle, right to the front, right to the front. There were 2 6x6s. Good night. Take care. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. There were 2 6x6s, which meant that there were about 24 men leaving the hospital for the last time. I really did not know any of them personally, having only seen them about the hospital area occasionally. I thought it was strange that the staff sergeant at the other end of the ward was not leaving with us. I found out later at the convalescent hospital that he was waiting to be sent back to the States to be discharged on Section 8. What's a Section 8?
Mentally disturbed.
That was the sergeant, right?
Yeah.
Did he give you indications that he was a Section 8 when you talked?
What?
When you talked to the sergeant, did he give you indications that he was a Section 8?
No.
No. Okay, so he would be discharged with a Section 8. That's a good point. I would never have suspected his condition as such, and it gave me much concern. Exactly how you answered the question just now. You didn't suspect him being a Section 8, and in this book you wrote 25 years ago, which the event took place 80 years ago.
I still remember it, yeah.
Yeah, you don't suspect that he was a Section 8. 80 years ago this took place. The book was 25 years ago, and it's still fresh in Mr. Jeckovich's mind.
Isn't that
He said he didn't suspect that sergeant was a Section 8. Unbelievable memory. You have an unbelievable memory.
Super soldier.
You have a damn unbelievable memory. Unbelievable. It seems strange to be riding in the back of 6x6 again instead of an ambulance. As we cleared the front of the courtyard of the hospital, it was reminded that this was the beginning of the road back. Back to K rations, wet feet, sleepless nights, bitter cold, and a return that was gnawing sensation of fear in the pit of my stomach every time there was an attack order given, or a patrol to go out on, or just sweating out a cold, miserable night. The dread that I would not make it through the night, or the next house, or the turn in the road would be my last when I fell by some impersonal enemy who had the same fear and apprehension I harbored. You traveled by many modes during World War II. Troop ship, trains,
Yeah.
open tractor trailers, 6x6s, boats. What was the hardest mode of transportation that you're on to be transported in? What was the worst?
6x6 with open back, no canvas or nothing.
How about the tractor trailers that had the tops cut off?
Yeah, they held more men, but the top was off and there was no relief.
How about one of the trains you discussed earlier that was simply cattle cars and you'd stand up in the whole time for many hours?
Yeah. Very like a prisoner of war.
Like a prisoner of war. It was just human cargo.
Yeah,
And they stopped every 4 hours to use the restroom.
yeah.
And
Press call.
for every 4 hours. And then
Every 4 hours, yeah.
were you jam-packed in there?
Who?
Were you jammed-packed in there?
Well, they put the physical load in there, yeah.
How about when you came on the troop ship? You were below the water level. How was the troop
And it
ship?
was 3 bunks high,
Yeah, and that was below the water level.
yeah.
Yeah, could you tell us briefly about those conditions?
Well, mostly they were lining ropes to begin with. Well, we came over on an American boat, it was a converted luxury liner, but it was converted as a troop ship. And it was 3 bunks high. The last bunk was you could put your hand, touch your finger on the ceiling.
So if you're claustrophobic, you'd have a hell of a problem.
Yeah.
How was the food on this troop ship?
Troop ship was good if it was American, but it was limey, it was greasy, crappy.
Coming over, was it limey food?
All lamb and stuff they ate.
How long did you have to stay under the water level before you were able to go on top of the ship deck to get fresh air?
Well, as soon as they pulled out of the port, I was on the deck all the time reading.
Because I know on the bunks below the water level, it must have been one hell of a horrible conditions, including the smell.
There was no ventilation,
No ventilation.
plus 1,000 troops.
Yeah. So you're happy to get up top of the deck
I
when you're
spent most
allowed
of my
to.
time on top, yeah.
Was it very cold?
It was cold. I had a field jacket on. I brought the blanket on with me. I tried to find a shelter away from the wind.
Were you allowed to sleep on the deck?
And there was nothing said about it.
So you weren't forced to go down
No,
to your bunk.
no.
Did you spend most of those several weeks just on top of the deck?
On top of the deck, yeah.
And now, when the troop ship was ready to disembark near Haverford West, Wales, did you have to go back to the bunks so there was an orderly disbarkment?
For an orderly deposit?
No, when the troop ship was landing in Wales with all these thousands and thousands of soldiers, so it was an orderly removal from the ship.
Yeah.
Did everyone have to go into their bunks down below?
Oh, yeah. They had a roll call that morning. Everyone had to be where they were supposed to be.
And how long did you have to stay there for?
Probably half a day.
When you got to the ground, did you feel like kissing that ground when you got to,
Got what?
when you actually got out of the troop ship and you're on solid ground, did you feel an enthusiasm that you wanted to kiss the ground you're walking on now?
No, no.
Did you have a great,
No, I just had a sensation I was still moving.
oh, you were still moving?
Yeah.
How you doing? So you felt like you're, have a nice evening. So you felt like you're still moving.
Yeah.
Did a lot of the soldiers on the troop ship seasickness?
They were seasick, but the bottom line were gambling for money.
Even that time,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
gambling for money.
They were all,
So there's a lot of hell raisers.
yeah.
Okay, now, you disembark in Wales near Haverford West. Where did you go to from there?
We went to that little crimpy town, the village that we stayed in. It was the next Boy Scout town, the camp.
And what was your sleeping accommodations?
It was straw in the mattresses, straw on the bed, no pillow. I used my shoulder hat for a pillow and my helmet.
Did the sleeping conditions get any better?
And then there was a stove every 50 feet. And you had to have fire watch on all night.
Did the sleeping conditions get any better
Where?
as time went on in near Haverford
No,
West?
no.
How about the food?
Well, if you ate limey food, it was terrible. But if you went to a mess hall, it was good. Army mess hall.
Uh-huh.
That's where we gave those number 10 cans out, remember?
Yeah, you gave out the number 10 cans out to Gene
To
Young's
civilians, yeah, to
family.
civilians, yeah.
So the highlight of your landing in Haverford West was when you met Gene Young. That broke up your day tremendously.
Oh, yeah.
That broke up your day tremendously. That's one of the ladies we've yet to find, but we're not going to give up yet. We're not going to give up yet. The Daily Mail has put out 900,000 to 1 million papers looking for it. So we'll get to the bottom of it. We found the other two. And so what type of food did you have when you're in town going to the cafes in Haverford West?
The commercial cafes,
Yeah.
they could give you any food you kind of food on, German, Italian, French, or anything you wanted.
What did you use for money?
Well, they gave us $175 cash. Well, then they converted to French.
Uh-huh. And they took that out of your pay, I take it?
Yeah, yeah.
So it wasn't no free meals?
No, no. They took that out of it. And then they took my allotment out, too.
That's the allotment you're sending home to your mother?
Yeah.
So they went into that also?
Pardon?
They took your allotment too?
Yeah.
When you gave all the food to the Gene Young family, were they very happy and pleased?
But the Young family?
Yeah, when you gave them all this food.
Oh, yeah.
Explain to her what you gave them and how you did it, because that's an interesting story. And besides, because of the statute of limitations, the government can't do jack shit to you now. But taking all that food. And
Right.
tell us how that went.
What?
You were generous. You gave them a lot of food.
I got it for the mess hall. He was a good guy. He gave us 5 or 6 cans of number 10 cans.
Number 10 cans are the big cans, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I put them back in the trailer in the Jeep, and I gave them out to the people in the city.
Could you show me with your hands how big a number 10 can is?
Number 10 can
Show me
is
with
probably
your hands. Show me like this.
no,
Show me.
no, not that big. No,
Like this,
no.
just show me your hands.
No.
Show me your hands. Like that pillow? Minutes?
Number 10 can would probably be like a half-gallon bottle of water.
Okay, that explains to me a little bit better. But I know you gave the Youngs a lot of food. What exactly did you give them? I'm trying to understand.
On those cans,
No,
I gave them what they couldn't get. I gave them a fruit cocktail. I gave them corn. I gave them cabbage, stuffed cabbage, baked up in cans. A lot of them were little cans. And I gave them the stuff that the mess hall could give us.
Uh-huh.
that they were feeding the Army soldiers.
And I understand you gave it to him on 2 occasions, and at one time you had the 6x6s deliver it. Is that
Yeah,
true?
yeah.
How the hell did a 6x6 fit through those narrow streets in Haverford West?
Those narrows what?
Those streets in Haverford West are very narrow. How did a 6x6?
A truck?
Yeah, how did it make it through the streets?
No, we run in with a Jeep.
Oh, Jeep.
Jeep with a trailer. The Jeep had a trailer behind him.
Was that Post helping you? Who was helping you deliver them? Was it Post?
Post?
Yeah, who's helping you deliver them?
I would drive it in with him and drive with him out.
Do you remember anyone else helping you?
With me?
Yeah, was there any
Oh, Barilli was with me for a while.
Okay, he helped you.
Yeah, he left me.
And was the young family extremely happy of your gifts to them?
Oh, yeah, well, they didn't have that through the whole war.
And
And they were in a longer war than we were.
a hell of a lot longer. I believe they're in since 39, maybe longer. I believe they're in since 39, maybe longer. And, wow. How was Mr. Young? Was he a nice man?
Mr. Young, he was the mayor, burgermeister of the town. Nice guy, wore vest, tie.
So he was always dressed
I was
regardless.
always dressed, yeah.
And how was Mrs. Young?
Real cordial, the bubbly type.
Was she a good cook?
Huh? Good cook.
Yeah,
Her style, yeah.
she was a good cook. Was Jean a good cook?
Jean?
Yeah.
She got it from her mother, yeah, she's good, yeah. But they ate their kind of food.
Yeah. So that was a very interesting part of being in Haverford West. Very interesting part. Wow.
It was a different country, it was a different country.
And I think the people there are much more appreciative of the American soldier.
Well, they're liberators. Don't forget the English were the war. They got the bombing from the Germans 2 or 3 years before us.
Yeah, 39.
They had all the kids who living out in the country.
Yeah. There were 2 6x6s, which meant there were about 24 men leaving the hospital for the last time. I really did not know any of them personally, having only seen them about the hospital area occasionally. I thought it was strange that the staff sergeant at the other end of the ward was not leaving with us. I later found out at a convalescent hospital that he was waiting to be sent back to the States to be discharged with Section 8. I would never have suspected his condition as such, and it gave me much concern. If you get discharged with a Section 8, is that a dishonorable discharge?
No,
No.
medical.
Medical, okay. Okay. It seems strange to be riding in the back of the 6x6 again instead of an ambulance. As we cleared the front courtyard of the hospital, I was reminded this was the beginning of a road back. Back to K rations, wet feet, sleepless nights, bitter cold, and return to the gnawing sensation of the fear in the pit of my stomach every time there was an attack or order given, a patrol to go out on, or just sweating out a cold, miserable night. Minutes?
1 minute and 10 seconds.
The dread that I would not make it through the night, or the next house, or the turn-in road may be my last, and I felt by some impersonal enemy who had the same fear and apprehension I harbored. We reached Etampes. Etampes is like 30 miles south or north of Paris.
Yeah.
In the mid-morning on a bright, crisp day, and were ushered into a large assembly hall. It reminded me of my last days at Swift and Breckenridge, where we would be getting orientation briefing as the new recruits. This was similar, but it had undercurrents, shadowing of things to come, events I was too familiar with.
Yeah, they took us to the movie house, gave us a rundown what could happen, what would happen.
Okay, but you came out of it, so you know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
As a young lieutenant briefed me up at length
Orientation.
regarding our stay here and what it entailed. So they were telling you what's going to happen, but you already were in the damn war.
Huh?
They were telling you what's gonna happen in the combat, but you were already in the war,
Yeah.
so you didn't need it, really.
They were trying to get you eased off from civilian or hospital watch.